right. So welcome everybody. I'm Sophia Givry. I'm the director of the Upward Bound program, and today we have a day in a life series with Marvin Rodriguez and Rosario Rodriguez. Thank you both for being here. Very excited to have you too. Both Marvin and Rosario earned their bachelor's degrees from SUNY Oneonta. Marvin studied computer science and Rosario studied mass communications. Marvin is the founder of Yuntos, a nonprofit social enterprise based in New York, and Rosario assists Yuntos with social media content and produced a short documentary. Yuntos connects worlds by bringing new and gently worn shoes to those in need in Guatemala. So Marvin is a lead programmer and analyst at SUNY Oneonta as well. Thought I should mention that to show you that he is very versatile in his jobs. So I have some prepared questions for the both of you, but we'll leave time for questions for our attendees. So definitely, if anybody has any questions throughout, throw it in the chat or unmute yourself at the end. So this question both of you can answer. How would you say your personal experiences or identity really influenced your passion for your career or your work with Yuntos?
For me, I would say, it's kind of like throughout life, you're searching for a purpose, what's bringing fulfillment, what's, what things that you enjoy doing. And, kind of like now that I look back, this idea of Yuntos kind of began when I was traveling to Guatemala, every year or every 2 years, where it was the case where I would go to my community, interact with family members and friends, and then I would see many of the kids without shoes. So what I was doing is giving them my extra pairs of shoes. So if I went down with 3 or 4 pairs, I would only come back with the pair of shoes on my feet. So essentially, I started doing this really early on, and then later on, I kind of thought about how can I expand it? How can I grow this? How can I bring more than 3 or 4 pairs of shoes? And that's how Yuntos was created, bringing these gently worn shoes to those in need. And kind of like looking back now, that's I was already doing Yuntos even before, and it kind of just grew over time. And it's something that when I'm doing it, it just brings purpose to me. So one of the things in life is that I enjoy doing is helping others, and essentially this is what the vision for Yuntos.
Don't forget to add, he also made it a college course when he was an adjunct professor as well. So.
Oh yeah, see, I forget a couple of other things. So I did have the opportunity to teach a class at SUNY Oneonta, and during this class, I brought purpose by creating websites. So I wanted to show students that there was different types of way of creating their websites, and I use Yuntos as the foundation. So that was kind of another thing that just came into my life, and I was like, well, if I'm going to show them how to make a website, I want to be something that they can see long term. And I was like, you guys can create a non-for-profit website, and that's kind of like I started coming up with the name for Yuntos, started creating the logo, creating the website, so then I could show the students something that they could create. So that was another part in the process of creating this organization.
I was going to ask, do you mind repeating the question again?
No problem. How would you say your personal experiences or identity influenced your passion for your career or work with Yuntos?
So my career, my inspiration, aspiration, however you want to call it, is to be a filmmaker and content creator. So a lot of that came from the lack of representations that Guatemalans specifically have in the mainstream media or mediums that exist. For example, it could be Facebook, YouTube, it could be on TV, it could be on film, it can be on radio. At least on Long Island, a lot of people don't know like who and what are Guatemalans. People just categorize us as Mexicans. But, as you know, there's a lot of different Latinos. But we are also the type of community Central Americans are very least represented. So that's where my passion for filmmaking came. And on top of that, people don't really know other people's lives unless they see it or they're living it. And chances are they're probably not living it. So that's why they don't know to begin with. And therefore, film is such a beautiful medium to have people really feel and see things and experience other things that they may not have in their entire lives. So the way that I would connect that to Yuntos, funny story, it was just a random thought. I was like, I want to do something with my film partner named Charlie, because he's really down to earth and he's really into like the Latino community and stuff like that. And then we were like, oh, let's do a film together one year. And then the next year we were like, oh, let's go to Guatemala and do something. And then the third year came and Marvin was going to Guatemala. I was like, yo, why don't we do film in Guatemala while Marvin's already down there and we can make it about that. So we did that. And we used our passion, our skills, our production knowledge and stuff like that, and created this short documentary that now has over 4,000 views on YouTube, which, coming from a small town with 56 kids that we both graduated with, that's pretty incredible for us. We never thought that would happen. Well, I didn't think. I was, you never know. So the most important part was that just having other people from different communities really see it and just understand us. And I think that's one thing that I really enjoyed about Marvin. Has always been a very selfless person. And so I wanted to create something as well to follow his journey and his story, because he's very influential in our town. He's from his generation. He's one of the few people in the Latino community that has really excelled academically, but also just after, in his career. A lot of Latinos and a lot of Latino parents really look up to him. So it's like, representation, again, comes back to that. It really does make a difference and it matters. So then I just, I like social media and stuff like that. And I'm a pretty good communicator, I hope. And I like talking to people, getting to know their story, getting to know them. I don't know, I guess a creative head. And I just stuck with helping Marvin out, excel his non-for-profit and just help him out with social media. He's not the greatest picture taker, so I tend to do like the pictures and the videos.
That is true. If you ask me to take a picture, I can take the picture, but I can't promise more than the picture. But and this is the nice thing about it, the collaboration that you can have, and how you can grow together and work towards things, and achieve goals.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Yeah, and I really love how the both of you like your passion definitely comes through when you're speaking, and you both really show that. I know in working with students, whether it be in high school or college, a lot of the time when we think about helping people, right, we kind of visualize it as that direct help and direct support. But you both really show how activists work and helping people can look different in different ways and how you've applied your different skill sets to it. So kind of building on that, what career advice do you have for students that are interested in pursuing a career working in the nonprofit sector?
For that question, I would say, just finding something that you enjoy doing, because Yuntos for me is something that I do after the 9 to 5. So, it kind of comes down towards the end of the day, something that I work on the weekends, and, kind of like something that I enjoy doing. One of the things that I would recommend is to go into the nonprofit world, see what other non-for-profits are doing. What kind of do they have volunteers? Do they have internships? And then you can get a feel for those non-for-profits, and if it's something that you're passionate about. So that would be my recommendation for anyone going into the field, looking for opportunities where you can volunteer, where you can intern, or and if those opportunities are not there, creating your own. You can start just as small as creating a project to help your community in a different way. That's one of the things about Yuntos. We kind of create different types of projects, and it's something that we find, and we have collaborated with other non-for-profits. So there's a lot of collaboration that can occur. So my recommendation would be, see, what kind of things that you enjoy doing, searching, for internships, searching for volunteer opportunities, and just go with what your heart tells you. And, if it's something that you enjoy doing, then you won't mind doing it in the weekends, in the afternoons, and it's going to bring a lot of fulfillment.
I guess for me, I'm writing it down so I don't forget and then ask the question again. It would be, so some career advice would be to market. I know it sounds like something that you're like, why market a nonprofit? Well, you want to get well known, you want to get to know people. And I think just as much as life is about networking, so is about the things that you're passionate about. The other day Marvin was talking to me about administration stuff. That is also very, very helpful. apply what you learned in the real world towards a nonprofit or towards things that you really appreciate. I would say do something like Marvin has said, something that's impactful. Like he did something that was impactful for him. Do something that made a difference in your life, and then maybe see if that's something you want to give back to other people. So sometimes that's usually what happens too. I always say network with other nonprofits, network with universities, especially universities, network with your local communities, your local church. Like you just have to continue to branch out to everybody. If you're like interested in and you have college campuses around you, get the fraternities and sororities that are recognized, get the clubs and see if they can do fundraisers, if they help you out. They need community service. So a lot of it is just like doing it yourself, but also have someone who has the same vision or similar vision as you. And then you guys can bounce off of each other, because the more people, the better, as long as you know how to, navigate that too. But honestly, yeah, just have fun with it. Otherwise, it's going to feel like a job you don't want to do. And I think, I think a lot of people in this world already do that. So be different and do something fun that you really enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message. This question is from Marvin. So, how would you say your computer science degree helped you support causes that are important to you?
Well, one of the things that I learned with computer science was essentially how to solve problems. That was one of the how to adapt and how to be successful at different types of challenges that you're going to face. So that I would say, that's kind of like the foundation about it. But I would say, for me, in regards to where I have excelled with computer science, would be doing things that I'm passionate about. So having the computer science degree allowed me to teach a class, just creating websites. Another opportunity that I had was I worked with a neuroscientist, and together we did a computational neuroscience tool. So I developed a tool for the analysis of 3D brain reconstructions, and this essentially went on to be published. And now it's helping people with hemorrhagic strokes, just in order to be prevented. So I would say, now that tool is helping more than 200,000 people. And that was something that I was able to bring my degree and bring passion, and once again the passion for helping others. So being able to find that the middle ground with what you're doing and what you want to do, it really excels, and it pushes you to go forward. So that's something that in regards to my degree and my passion and helping others.
Nice. And Rosario, what's a skill that you're most proud of learning?
Oh, that's a tricky question. There's many things. I think versatility. That's definitely a skill you want to learn in life, in your personal life, social life, whatever it may be. Being versatile is probably the best thing that you can do, because again, it kind of ties back to what Marvin said. You are a problem solver. People don't like problems. You're the solver, problem solver. So definitely would be versatile. And I would say that because like filmmaking, creating, learning how to do software in regards to editing, talking to people is like really important. But if you're not cool with that, you got to talk to someone that is cool with that. So being versatile, that's my best answer.
Yeah, I really like how you're both kind of talking about how it's really important to develop the skills yourself and develop the network, but then also have people in your network who have skills that maybe you don't have, just so you can be this, overarching force to really help you work towards your goals. I think that's important, and people kind of lose sight of that sometimes. So Marvin, how would you say participating in extracurriculars or student organizations in high school and college prepared you for your job?
One of the things that I would say is it goes back again to you're taking different type of classes, becoming a critical thinker, how to solve certain types of problems, being able to be disciplined, being able to be organized. In my case, those were things that I had throughout different time. When I was in high school, I was in band, I played soccer, I didn't know how to play the trumpet. It was something that I learned. When I played soccer, it was something that was just more of a discipline. item, and and I brought that to college with me. So, and then learning more in college of what works for you and what's not working, and being able to adapt and change, and having different types of skill sets. So for me, it would be you're kind of growing throughout time, and then you're picking up all the things that are working for you, and you're kind of like putting them in your pocket. Oh, this is working, this is not working, and being able to self-evaluate. I would say that's extremely important. Setting up goals, and then kind of like when I came into college, I said, my goal was to obtain my degree, and then kind of breaking those goals into smaller doses. So, okay, what do I need to do in order to obtain my degree? Well, I'm gonna need to have, a GPA. Okay, what kind of GPA do I want to have? And what kind of goals do I want to set up during that time frame? Do I want to do internships in the summer? What kind of research projects can I be involved in? So those are kind of the things that you can begin to think about once you have your goal, and then creating smaller doses of that goal in order to achieve those smaller goals. So it's kind of like, look, now that I'm here, a couple years after college, it's kind of like I'm looking backwards to what I did. So if anything, like things that I recall were like, what's your learning style, and being able to be successful in that learning style. For me, sometimes it was like I moved around the library. Like I would start on the first floor, then I would go to the second floor, then I would go to the third floor, and I knew that I needed to be in different locations in order to continue and be concentrated. So, kind of like see what's working for you, and having the resources available to you. So, for me, for example, I had a counselor that I would go see, I would talk with them. It just felt nice to have someone there for you and talk to them. Not only that, but, just being able to be you, and know when you need help, and ask for help when you need that help. There's people out there that are cheering you on, and they want you to be successful.
Yeah, definitely. And that works into the next question really nicely. So Rosario, can you talk about your experience or a mentor that really helped you get where you are today?
I'm done. He's literally on the other side of the screen. Yeah, I would say my mentality when I was in high school transitioning into college really grew mainly because of, again, I'm always going to go back to it, but representation and people who look like you, who talk like you, who come from similar backgrounds as you. Once you see people start doing these things, you're like, oh my God, maybe I can really do something like that. And on top of that, you can connect with those type of people. So yeah, I would say my mentor would have been my older brother, not because he's like one of my greatest friends, but because I've seen how hard he has worked. And it also depends. Hard work doesn't mean that you have to do everything by the books. You can find a loophole here and there, but definitely got to stay within the book. You feel me? So it's really just about representation. Like seeing him get the SUNY Chancellor's Award, that was my first goal as entering a freshman. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that during EOP. And people are like, what's that? Being able to have someone who's already done something, and then them being kind enough to give that back to you and tell you and give you all this advice, whether you take it or not, that's up to you, but I highly recommend it to take it. And then if you don't get there, the best thing that happens is that you at least tried. And that's really what matters the most, because sometimes different goals aren't attainable, but they're not impossible. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes different routes or different roads that you're going to have to take in life and during an undergrad or during high school. And never let anybody tell you that you can't do nothing, that you can't do anything, or you're not going to be successful because you didn't do this. I had a high school teacher who told me I wasn't successful because I got a 75 in his chemistry class and I didn't pass the Regents, got a 50 on it. I didn't even try after he told me that halfway through the year, but then I ended up getting, a 4.0, 4.0s in college and all this other stuff. So do not let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. You can only do that for yourself.
Yeah, super important advice. So this question's for the both of you. What advice would you give your high school self today?
Uh, for me, it's been almost more than 10 years, actually, like around 11 since I was in high school. But I would just say, like if I was talking to myself, which I am right now, kind of, I would say, I would just say I'm proud of you. I all the things that I did, and all the things that I worked at, and all the lessons that I learned and all the mistakes that I made and all the problems that I solved, kind of led me to where I am at today. Looking back is like saying, I did many things, and I look back and it's like, wow, like, I did all these things. And at the same time, I'm just very grateful for, the people that were cheering me on and that were there for me. And, just not never giving up. There's days where are not so good days, but just being able to work through them and achieve your goals and creating those small doses of success. So I would just, to my high school self, I would just say, I'm so proud of you. I came a long way, from, being the first in my family to attend the university and just being able to also like being the first in my family to even being able to work remotely. This is something, or, even just work in an office setting, it's kind of like, you know, I, things just, I worked extremely hard and the hard work paid off. And not only that, but being able to even have enough time to get back to others. And so, that's something that I'm extremely grateful for. And that's where the organization Yuntos comes in and utilizing that time that there's still work that needs to be done, and grateful for having that time to be able to do it. So if anything, I would just say, like I said, I'm proud of, of Marvin 10 years ago for taking the risks to follow his dreams and achieve his goals.
Cool. Cool. Sounds cool. I would say number one, save money. It's not the most important thing in the world, but save money because then you won't have to stress too much later on. Please do that. Don't chase the bag now while you can and save it. Secondly, it gets better. I was supposed to be a high school dropout. I didn't really like school. I didn't want to do school. And again, the only reason why I went to school was because of Pathy Leva from camp at Oneonta, and then my brother. And again, representation matters. They were like, it gets better. And I trusted them that it does get better in all aspects. 3, ask a million questions. People will never forget you if you ask questions, because they're like, who is this girl that just keeps chatting and just keeps going on and on? Yo, people will remember that. People are always going to remember your attitude. People are always going to remember like the way you responded to certain things. So yeah, try not to get tight, because I know things can get tight and you can get mad, but nah, just stay cool, think through things, and honestly, just ask questions. Use your resources, squeeze your resources, man. Like, you weren't put on this earth for no reason, try to get as many resources as you can. And then that's something I wish that I told myself, and I want you guys that are here to, retain. The other thing would be at least for me specifically, and I know that there's a lot of high school students too, especially if they're migrants or immigrants, you're going to be the first in your family to do a little bit of everything. You're going to be in your first in your family to get a real like non-labor job. Hopefully you're going to be the first in your family to be able to know how to navigate a computer technology. You're going to be the first in your family to graduate. You're going to be high school, college, whatever it is. You are going to be the first to lay out the pavement. You have to understand that things are not going to be easy because you're the first one to build it up, especially if you know the language and you haven't had other family members experience what you are now. You're going to be alone in that sense, but always remember, you're always going to have other people. Ask for help, use your resources. Just because you're first generation first generation college student, first generation American, does not hold you back. So it's also a good thing to be first for once, so just work hard at it.
And what is one thing you wish you would have done to prepare for college, that you didn't do that you wish somebody told you about?
You want me to go or you go?
I'll let you take this one first. I can see that you're already,
Bro,
you're already having
I
this.
still regret it to this day, dude. Marvin would always be like, bro, save your money, apply for scholarships. Like, bro, save your money. So that's one thing I would have done. And then honestly, I can't really regret anything else that has happened in college. Things usually fall into the place that they're supposed to. But yeah, that was mine. Just, it's all right. Sometimes you got to take the loans, So you got to take the loans. But here's another thing. If you don't want to go to school, that is okay. Have a backup plan. Maybe trade school is your thing. Listen, I don't know how to do certain things. Like I don't know how to weld. I don't know how to look at my car. Girl, I don't even know how to put the windshield wiper liquid in my car. So that's always really good. Yeah. And just network. If you don't go to college, you got to network. Get to know people. Use social media. Use Instagram. Use Facebook, especially Instagram. It's very popular. Go to people that you know on Instagram, not personally, but you admire or you have like a similar passion with, and then go to who they follow and then reach out to them. All about it is like, taking advantage of the internet and social media. That's mine.
I would say, one of the things that for me in my case, money was always something that, revolve, you're gonna need money to do certain things and pay for books or, take the bus home but there's a lot of resources out there. And, being able to know what are those resources and how can you get in contact with those resources, I think it's extremely important. I can tell you guys that when I graduated high school, I didn't have that many scholarships. One of the things were like, oh, how am I going to pay for college? And one of the things that I learned throughout the journey was that, you can earn those scholarships while you're in college. So, for example, having a high GPA, being able to do different research projects and marketing yourself, like Rosario was saying before, kind of like helped me throughout. So I actually when I graduated from college, I was debt free. That was something, but I worked extremely hard through college in order to reach that because I came in with not that many scholarships. And but during my time in college, I kind of like made it for myself to say, okay, what kind of resources do I have available? How can I obtain certain grants? What kind of scholarships can I apply to? What are the requirements? And just doing a little bit of everything. I took a lot of different risks and I did a lot of different things. And, for example, I did an internship where it had mainly nothing to do with my major, but I did it. It was a great experience. So I interned for the White House under the Obama administration. And, it was an experience where not only that, but I started to create networks with other organizations. So, it was something that it played a role through my college career. And not only that, but knowing all of these, I could pass it down to my siblings. So, for my sister, I was like, listen, there's these other opportunities out there, that I learned about. So networking definitely something that, I would recommend, but I would say, just setting goals and setting goals to achieve those goals. So breaking down the goals to achievable goals and just working your way up. One of the things that I would also recommend is, I had a 24-hour rule that I would review anything within 24 hours. So if I was assigned an assignment, I would, even if I wasn't going to start working on it, I would review it within 24 hours, just so I would know how long it was going to take me to complete a certain project. So that's something that I would recommend as, to the students.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
the same.
I hope everybody was taking notes. That's all very helpful advice and good things to know. So now we're going to open it up to any questions that you all have. You could feel free to unmute yourself or throw them in the chat. We'll wait a couple minutes to see if questions come in.
We have one question.
Looks like we have two. So did you ever think to take a different career path?
In college, I would say, there were times where things that definitely got tough in my computer science degree, and I definitely thought about, different type of career paths that I could take. So, essentially, it's like, oh, do I want to go into business? Do I want to go into math? Or, kind of like saying, what kind of options do I have? Do I have enough time to switch my career path, or what is the career path that I want to take? And, oftentimes I think it's just going back and thinking, are you enjoying what you're doing? And, because oftentimes, in computer science, I wasn't getting perfect scores in my exams. And that was, extremely tough, just, to get projects done. But it was something that I was enjoying doing. And that's how I continued through the career path that I was taking, but essentially finding different type of options. I started like looking at, where can I obtain information in a different way, kind of like looking for things online, looking at YouTube videos, or just breaking things down. But I definitely thought about different career paths. But I would say, like in my case, it kind of all came back to technology. So everything that I learned, I still apply to my everyday life.
I would say, did I ever think to take a different career path? No, but I think if I were, I would want to stay in the art career or like creative aspect. There is one thing that I'm also very passionate about, and as I mentioned, and as you will know me from now on from this presentation, is representation. So, different career path, I would have definitely loved to do something in the Africano Latino studies. You get to learn a lot about, the historical aspect and how that affects us, like Chicano history, Black history. I could have majored in that as an undergrad. So I only had one like class left. So if I were to switch careers, I would definitely do that, because in the way that America is now and just like how things are happening, you always want to stay on top of your education and your knowledge to protect yourself as a Black or brown person, and just know your own history too, within America. So that's one thing. So like I would definitely love to do that, and maybe mix that with the arts or creatives. And then Marvin, the second question is, what is something you're happy you did back in high school that someone asked?
I would say, from academic perspective, I'm happy that I took an AP course. Just, I feel like that prepared me for the next step in college. And but I would also say, sometimes you have to shoot your shot and different things. And one of the things that I didn't see, kind of like it was like becoming class president. It was something that I didn't really think about much. And I was like, okay, why not? Let me run. Sometimes you just have to do certain things. And that's something that I would say that I'm happy that I did in high school. And also, kind of like taking on that AP course and just preparing myself for the next step in my career.
I would say for me, something I'm happy that I did in high school was not drop out. That I made it through. I made it through high school, and then I went on to bigger and better things, and then I completed the second part of academics, and now I'm working. Save your money, y'all. It's tough out here.
Yeah, that's the trend for today. Save your money. Um, all right. It looks like those are all the questions that we have. Thank you so much for the both of you for coming today. We will definitely post this on our YouTube, so others will see it as well. I'll let you know if students after want to connect with you or have any follow-up questions too. But again, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thanks to the students for coming today. I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Bye.
You guys, thank you.
Thanks everyone, and enjoy what you do.